Nice piece of oak. Surely I'll use it. So what do? Stick it in your scrap bin. So I've had one scrap bin and it's got a few jigs and other stuff in there I'll use again. So they're just sitting on top of my scrap bin. So I recently made a second scrap bin just for other hardwood scraps. And I realized I got a bunch of stuff here, and I've got other jigs and other pieces of plywood that are big enough to make little jigs and stuff out of. What I need now is a scrap bin just for plywood. So that's what we're going to build today, a scrap bin for plywood. So in looking around for places to put my scrap bin for plywood, I decided up against this wall over here where I have this 145-degree jig, which I don't need anymore. So I'm going to take that down and make it about 30 inches wide by 24 inches. And actually measuring the wall, I can go 36 inches wide by 24 tall. Any taller than that, I may not be able to get into it. On the bottom, what we're going to do is put 3 dividers in there, and up against the wall will be 24 inches, then the next 18, 12, and the front will be 6. So we'll be able to see the smaller pieces and put them in there. And we'll make this about 2 inches in here so we can put 3 pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, which is really not 3/4 full, into that at any one time. So I had a spare piece of cedar 2x8 in the back that I thought I'd be able to cut off and be light enough but yet sturdy enough for my base for my bin. So I took it over my table saw and squared up the edges, get them nice and square. Then I took it over to my bandsaw to be able to cut it down to the exact depth I wanted, only to hit a nail and ruin my bandsaw blade. Then I removed the nail, checked it, make sure there wasn't any others, and took it over to my thickness planer and just continued to get it down to the right thickness that I needed for my project. So here's my bottom piece I'm going to use. So I have a couple of lines marked here where I'm going to cut my little dado for my pieces of plywood. Then I'll take my plywood and just cut each of the strips to size to fit into my storage bin. Then I take my base piece and measure and make sure I cut my dados in for my plywood sections that stand straight up. So you get 2 or 3 of those done and you're getting real close to being finished. So here's the base with the sections put in with the front and the back. So on the back side I'm just using some pin nails to hold it in. Then I follow that up by turning it on the side and taking some screws and pre-drill and screw in the front panel and the back panel. Make sure we have nice firm attachment because we're going to screw the top of it to the wall and we want to be able to hold the whole thing in place. So for this end, I took a piece of scrap and I cut some dados for the bottom and the 3 sides and just cut it flat here so I can nail from the front. So that's my end piece. So now all I do is make one for the other end, and then that's going to help support it. There we go. So this is my end piece where this will go, this rabbet will be on the bottom, this will be on the back, and this will be the 2 supports in the middle. So I need to have another piece just like this on the other end to do the same thing. The only issue is I don't have any 3/4 inch plywood, so I'm going to take a 1/2 inch plywood and do this. But instead of gluing this up and having to cut those dados or rabbets, all I'm going to do is position it the right way. So with this, I'm just going to position it that much on that lip there to have this edge here. And remember, I'm doing the mirror image of this, and then this piece is going to be slid over by that amount of that rabbet right there. So between that and that should equal this rabbet and that, and then all I have to cut is these 2 in the middle. That'll save me a whole bunch of time. So let's get this piece glued up. scrap bin for plywood. I put more plywood in there, but I used up all my plywood to build my scrap bin. Oh well, we'll just put some jigs in here. There you go. So if you like our scrap bin just for plywood, give us a thumbs up. Want to see more of our builds? Consider subscribing down below. And as usual, come back and see me real soon.